Welcome back. This is Strat, and this is episode 2 of my zombies weapon ranking. In these videos, I will continue to judge weapon effectiveness based on multiple factors to help determine their scores. Since these weapons are being graded on their individual performances, I will only allow the use of my knife and grenades to assist them. Otherwise, everything will be dealt with on their own. With that, we can go on to cover our second World at War weapon, the Colt M1911. This is the default starting weapon for all 4 World at War Zombies maps, so everyone should be very familiar with this one. So let's get right into the stats. The Colt is a semi-automatic pistol that sports a measly 20 base damage per shot. To put this into perspective, a zombie on round 1 has a health value of 150, meaning it would take at least 8 shots just to put one zombie down. If you've watched my other video, you know there's more to damage than just the base values though. Let's go ahead and get on to the body multipliers. Interestingly enough, the body multiplier values for the Colt are nowhere to be found on the internet no matter where you go. Of course, like any good nerd, if I can't find the stats online, I'll go ahead and do the field testing myself. And that's exactly what I did. What I learned from this is quite simple in that the headshot damage for the Colt is 3.5x, which is similar to many other World at War weapons, landing it at about 70 damage per shot, whereas for the limbs, it does seem like it's actually below 1.0, meaning that you'll be doing less than 20 damage if you shoot the arms or the legs. This leaves the abdomen and chest with a 1x multiplier, meaning a normal 20 damage. That being said, it is universally known that the Colt is not meant to be used to kill zombies, but rather a tool for gaining points early on. In the first 5 rounds, the Colt excels at using double points, insta-kill, as well as shooting zombies in their legs for maximum points to get through the doors, as well as purchase more powerful weapons. However, this is Der Reese, so you guys may be wondering about the On some of my different playthroughs, I would have dogs on round 5 before I was able to pack punch my Colt. However, unlike the Kar 98 before it, the Colt's mobility and reload speed combined with Jug and the Catwalk allow me to get through this round without too much hassle. Rounds 4 and 5 with normal zombies are a problem though, as the game reminds you the Colt is not a wall weapon, meaning you can't get ammo through conventional means. If you're out of ammo at this point, which you most likely are, you're left with 2 very unfavorable options, that being knifing the zombies or using your grenades. While knifing the zombies yields a large point payout, there are many risks that come along with it. You can help mitigate these by buying Jug, but the perk does not save you from scenarios like this.
Need to round up some rounds.
The zombies in this game must not know that it is quite impolite to hold a hug for that long. Jokes aside, you're realistically rolling a 20-sided die every time you knife into a zombie horde like that, with a 1 or 2 meaning certain death. Rolling a 1 in this case alludes to lunging the zombie behind the one you actually wanted to attack, getting you stuck directly in the middle of the horde, killing you pretty quickly. Rolling a 2 puts you inside an invisible box made by the zombies in which you can only watch as your life is slowly stolen from you. All of that was the long way of saying it's probably best to just use your grenades, avoid getting Jug early, and try to get Pack-a-Punch as soon as possible. Speaking of which, let's now talk about the Pack-a-Punch version of the Colt. Just make sure this doesn't happen to you when you're packing it.
Pack-a-Punch must have been named after me. That's what I need. More firepower. Don't mess with a Marine.
Did I mention how much I hate World at War zombies? Oh, I did? Well, I'm saying it again. Anyways, after you've survived the process, you're awarded with the C3000 Biatches, which is very aptly named. Normally this is the point in which I'd put the stats on screen, but the stats that you can find just about anywhere are either wrong or just incomplete because the damage does not match up at all to how much health the zombies have. The likely reasoning for this is that the gun has splash damage, which no one actually wanted to calculate, so they just calculated the damage of you hitting someone directly, which is 1,000. And trust me, that undocumented damage makes all the difference for this gun and makes it very clear why it's the predecessor to the Mustang and Sally. This gun consistently puts down dogs in 1 to 2 shots on all rounds and is also perfect against groups. Unfortunately, the weapon also excels at killing you, the player, if you're not very careful. The self-damage, however, is avoidable in most scenarios that don't involve camping or dogs. One very important thing to note about the C3000 is that it only has 46 shots, which will be gone before you know it if you use it on single zombies. Even with better than average ammo conservation, you'll still find yourself running out of ammo on the higher rounds when it takes more shots to kill. This is compounded since mid-round dogs also force you to use a couple shots every time they spawn in to avoid further complications. If you find yourself running low on rounds, there actually is something you can do to replenish your stores. If you've been keeping an eye on the gameplay in the background, you've seen that I actually have not one but 2 1911s, one packed, one not. No, this isn't a mod of any sort, it is just the fact that World at War, unlike other games, does not allow you to have 0 weapons. This means that as long as you have enough points available to keep cycling out weapons to get the extra 1911 again, you technically have a wall weapon C3000. If you factor in the price of pack-a-punching each weapon to get the 1911 back, it does get quite pricey and is hard to sustain. This is also not a fast process by any means, so trying to do it mid-round is both time-consuming and extremely dangerous. In the gameplay footage here, I was forced to undergo this endeavor when I ran out of C3000 ammo mid-round and was being chased around by dogs trying to pack another one. While tedious, a pack-a-punch weapon with replenishable ammo cannot be overlooked and definitely is a valuable asset. The last part that needs to be pointed out about this gun before we begin to rank it is that it does stop one-shotting even with perfect splash damage on round 28, so please keep that in mind. Like the last video, we're going to start this off with the weapon's peak performance, or the last round its purpose is still possible or needed. The base Colt 1911's purpose is mostly for grinding points, and around round 5 is when you should usually be set up for most things in a game. The C3000 is pretty difficult to gauge here, as it's still pretty useful even after it stops one-shotting. However, to keep things objective, I'm still going to choose round 27 as this weapon's peak performance. The next category is this weapon's ease of use, or how easy it is to use the weapon effectively, as well as its mobility. Both the Colt and the C3000 have excellent mobility and are both pretty easy to use, considering one is just used for points and the other one is an explosive. With that, I'll go ahead and give it an overall score of 8 out of 10. The only thing keeping it from being a perfect score is the possibility of self-damage from the C3000. This next category is where weapons would be graded differently based on if they were a box or a wall weapon. However, the C3000 and the Colt are neither of these, and since it can also get ammo, it's kind of just in a league of its own. So I'm gonna just go ahead and give it a perfect score here, kind of like the Car 98, there's no one to really face it. This last category is based on the weapon's ability to save you if you are trapped by one or more zombies. The base Colt clearly isn't capable of saving anyone, but I'm going to overlook it as the rounds that you would likely get trapped on, you would already have the C3000. And surprisingly, I'm going to give this C3000 a 4 out of 10. Yes, it is possible for the self-damage to kill you, but if it can one-shot the zombies, you can kill multiple at once if you haven't taken any damage. Unlike the Car 98, there are no point deductions to be made here, as the gun does not require the use of the Bowie knife, and it is also just fine against dogs. The Colt and C3000 end off at a cool 54 points, which is not bad by any means and will hold up quite well until we start getting into the really good weapons. That is all for this one. This has been Strat, and I will see you in the next Zombies weapon ranking. Ciao!